Championship. It's based at Knockhill, although it does have the occasional race at Croft, south of the border therefore, and all these Mark II 1600cc Fiestas run on Kumho controlled tyres and produce very competitive, very economical and very close racing. The series was won last year by Alan Keith, and he too was very much the man to beat in 2001. But at Knockhill, where the cars don't seem to spend very much time running on their own, you can always be sure of somebody to race against. This is a circuit that's held now Formula 3, GT and touring car races and lends itself to close one-mate racing. With honours in the opening round of the championship going the way of Sandy Forrest, the son of ex-touring car racer Ian Forrest, and then Alan Keith having won every race since, there were plenty of other drivers still very determined to put their names in the record book. Amongst them, the very spectacular Dave Colville getting all sideways during the qualifying session, and one or two other drivers found themselves getting it wrong as well before the end of qualifying for this most recent round. Amongst them, Alex Knight here getting it all wrong at McIntyre's, and he wasn't the only one either. Peter Cruikshank, another very quick driver in the series with his yellow peril, found himself running out of road as well. The good thing about racing like this, though, is that there are plenty of spare parts available, the cars are easy to find, they're easy to maintain, and you don't have to run with a professional team to be competitive. This is true club racing. You can do it out of your own pocket and out of your own garage. It's a true clubman's championship, and amongst the quick clubmen in it is Scottish driver Tom Bell.
Scottish XR2 is very, very exciting, very, very competitive. Identical motor cars with identical engines running identical tyres and suspension. It's absolutely down to driver ability, proving a very, very close championship. The leader is a long way ahead, but there's 4 points between second and sixth in our championship, so very, very hot. We run two side-by-side championships, the overall championship and also a newcomers cup, because the sport's very, very much for newcomers to come into motorsport. And if you haven't raced for 2 years, or in your first 2 seasons, you're allowed to enter the Newcomers Cup. And for the Newcomers Cup, there's 3 points, first, second and third, so that's also very close. Great thing is it's so competitive, and it's so evenly matched. You have people racing the front of the grid, the middle of the grid, and the back of the grid. They're always racing. We always have more entries than we've got grid space, which is super fun. A great, good, humoured, gentlemanly clubman racing. I love it a bit. It's really great fun.
And what are your tactics going to be for this event?
Tactics are best start I can possibly get, because that is my failing. I'm not the fastest off the mark. Try and stay consistent in my place or there and thereabouts for the first lap, because you can understand when you get 6 or 8 cars going on Duffus Dip at the first corner, there's tantamount to disaster. So if you can stay safe for the first 2 or 3 laps and then start reeling them in. They've changed this track just for this year. So a lot more overtaking opportunities through Clark, through the hairpin, also Duffus and McIntyre. Lots more space, lots more fun. You'll see a lot of overtaking. I'm really looking forward to it. I've got a very good friend right on my front door, and one of my best friends just behind me and one behind me again, and we're all very, very evenly matched. We're 2 tenths between us, and we will be overtaking coming back through again, and there'll be lots of salutes, shall we say, or gestures as we pass each other, but it'll be fun.
What are your tactics for this race?
Try and keep in front.
Who's your main opposition?
Dave Colville, I would say, and also Sandy Forrest. It's pretty close as well.
How's the championship been up till now?
I've won 6 out of the 7 races. I've got 6 race wins. I never finished the 7th race, so I'm presently leading by 60-70 points.
And what's your chances here on this circuit?
If I finish in the top 5 today, I think I've won the championship.
So you'll be all to go for?
Yeah, doing my best. Yeah, go for it.
Do you like this circuit?
Yeah, but it's only between here and Croft this year. So I've raced at this circuit for 15 years. I know the circuit quite well.
And Alan Keith, the man that's already won the 2001 championship as well, and he's going to take some stopping here in this final round of the series. But the opposition in qualifying came from Dave Colville. We saw him getting all sideways, and Dave Colville will still start on the front row of the grid. Lining up third, the only other man to have won a race outright this year, and that is Sandy Forrest. His father Ian Forrest used to race in the British Touring Car Championship and is now the operations manager for Knockhill. And Sandy Forrest has put all of his father's lessons that he's been telling him into good use this year, and in this round he could well prove to be a surprise victor once again. There is Tom Bell, complete with our onboard camera. He makes his way now through Clark's on the run, up towards the grid. The start and finish line here at Knockhill. Uphill, of course. The starting lights on the bridge that crosses the start and finish line. And Tom Bell, like the rest of them, weaving from side to side, generating as much temperature as he can in the Kumho rubber, ready for the start of the race here at Knockhill. There's also a newcomers award in this championship. That has gone the way more often than not this year of Derek Pearce. He's taken 4 wins. 1 win has gone the way of David Hunter, and 2 also to Stephen Gray. But Derek Pearce in car number 43, very much the man they've got to beat in that newcomers class. Tom Bell lines himself up then. The man from Dollar lining himself up, ready for the start of 15 laps here at Knockhill. He was 12th quickest in qualifying, and that means that he's roughly mid-grid, and he's going to find himself with an awful lot of work to do, not only to attack, but also to defend as well. The uphill grid then here at Knockhill forms up now. The marshals indicating where the drivers are meant to stop, and we're ready then for the Kumho Tyres Scottish XR2 Championship race here at Knockhill. They had a double header at Croft earlier on in the season, but apart from that, every round takes place at this very popular Scottish circuit. The marshals ready for action. They might need the yellow flags from time to time in this. The lights go to green though, and away they go! On board with Tom Bell. He doesn't make the best of starts, nor there are cars pouring past him as they go down towards Duffers Dip for the first time. Alan Keith leads as they fling their cars through Duffers Dip on lap 1. Somebody getting all sideways ahead there. Another car to the left of us on the curb and almost onto the grass, but Tom Bell survives the first couple of corners. Whoops! A tap in the tail there of the driver ahead saying, come on, get out of the way. They make their way now up towards the Glenbarrigal chicane, but already this year's champion, Alan Keith, is breaking away. They make the run now along the straight, heading up towards Clark's through the right-hander. Tom Bell's about to lose another place though there, going through on the inside. You can see another of the cars diving through, clattering over the curbs. In these sorts of cars you've got to maintain the momentum right the way around the lap, and if that means use the curb or the grass to your advantage, then you've got to do it. Down to the hairpin they go. Tom Bell now with a very crowded circuit ahead of him. Hard on the brakes, looking for a way through. It's all getting a little bit narrow. 3 abreast ahead of him though. Runs a fraction wide all over the curb, very nearly into the gravel there, coming out of the hairpin. That's 1 lap of XR2 racing around Knockhill, and poor old Tom Bell still losing places as he comes over the line now. Another place lost, charging past there on the inside, another of the quicker cars. And poor old Tom Bell, who started the race 12th on the grid, is way, way down now in comparison with how he went in qualifying. Takes to the curbs there, coming through Duffers Dip, 2-wheeling his way towards McIntyre's now. Up front, it's still Alan Keith in the lead of the race. Car off ahead, and also over the grass now, and through the dust goes Tom Bell. He's going to lose another place, isn't he, on the inside line there. The rest of them swing their way through. Norman Dalgleish going through, number 72. He's one of the newcomers in the championship. In that separate award, flings the car through the chicane now. Tucked up behind him as they make the run now on towards Clark Curves. And Tom Bell swings his way through in turn as well now. He's a little bit frustrated, you can see there, with the way the race has gone so far for him. But now possibly a chance to fight back. He's a little bit too far adrift, I think, of the cars ahead, but he brakes very, very late indeed, coming into the hairpin. The Kumho rubber squeals in agony. He survives the experience and carries on up through the gears now, heading towards the line. You can see in the mirror there, another car goes past. Tom Bell is not at all happy, but there is a very happy man indeed. The race leader now, Alan Keith, getting away from the rest of them. Barry Milligan you just saw getting ahead of Tom Bell, but the rest of the quick cars now turn their way out of McIntyre's. They're going through it. Number 25 is Nick Sanderson. We're on board with Tom Bell now. Gets caught up with the car ahead there. He's way out wide all over the grass, through the gravel. He's going to go. Now is he going to get ensnared or can he carry on? Thankfully he gets out of the gravel, heading back towards the tarmac, and that's going to drop Tom Bell right to the bottom end of the field now. Bell gets back onto the circuit. In the meantime, this year's champion, last year's champion, very much the man to beat in the Scottish XR2 Championship is Alan Keith, and he leads. He's pulling away all the while now from Dave Colville in second place. Coming through in third now, the yellow car of Peter Cruikshank, and then fourth, tucked up behind them, is Sandy Forrest. Finlay Mickle going through number 88, and 1 and 2 getting very carried away behind him there. More grey battling, coming down to the hairpin. They're going through on the inside in number 42. That's John Findlay. He made his 1400cc Fiesta debut here at Knockhill at the Power Tour meeting earlier on in the year. Somebody else takes to the grass there, that's Rory Quigley, the man from Lanark. Bits of debris as well on the road there, but they all survive and carry on their merry way. The race leaders though now making their way once more down through Duffers Dip. A race leader because out on his own is Alan Keith. He won the second round at Knockhill, he won the 2 races at Croft, and then he's won the next 3 here at Knockhill, although one of them was a pretty last gasp affair. He only just got ahead of Dave Colville on the run towards the line to win round 6 of the championship. Dave Colville in second place here, all on his own at the moment. In third place, making progress now is Sandy Forrest. He's got himself ahead of Peter Cruikshank, and Cruikshank in turn trying to fend off Finlay Mickle behind him. Mickle in number 88 then. They turn their way out of the hairpin once more, making the run now up towards the start and finish line. Another good fight coming towards us. Stuart Scott in 54 losing out because they're diving through on the inside line. Number 74 clipping the curb and going through. That's Thomas Kippack. The car's absolutely nose to tail. The Mark II XR2 that had its own one-mate championship as far ago as 1986, but there are still plenty of these cars around. The Scottish Championship very popular. And this has come about really by the success of the BRSCC series that ran primarily at Alton Park, but is now a national championship that scooped up the Mark II Fiestas. Towards the end of the late 1980s, the main XR2 and XR3i championship came on stream, and then the very popular Scottish version expanded in the 1990s. Still this battle raging on between Peter Cruikshank's yellow car and Finlay Mickle alongside him. Cruikshank on the inside line goes through, they touch there, Cruikshank gets all sideways. Scrabbles for grip going round the hairpin there, there's a bit of leaning going on behind as well as Graham Ross arrives on the scene and Finlay Mickle exits stage right. With a bit of help from his friends, Finlay Mickle goes rally crossing, gets it back onto the circuit. Novice cross evident on the back of the car, somebody else getting it all wrong. That's John Findlay scrambling for grip coming into the hairpin, and another place lost as he sorts himself out. If nothing else, this championship proves that there's plenty of action still to be had in Ford Fiestas. It also proves how durable Yakumo tyres are because they're being given a real amount of stick in this race. Back on the inside, the recovering Finlay Mickle goes through there, goes ahead of Peter Cruikshank. In the meantime though, Tom Bell is about to have to let the leaders go. His race going from bad to worse, the car getting ever slower. He waves the leaders past him, the blue flag being waved as well. But Tom Bell, one of the more enthusiastic drivers in the championship, gives a cheery wave to Alan Keith, who goes rocketing past. Peter Cruikshank coming through now. Next in the queue, number 7, that's Colin Robertson, and between the pair of them in number 41 is Graham Ross. But Tom Bell inevitably heads to the pit lane. The car was getting slower and slower, and Tom Bell, our cameraman, is about to end his day a little prematurely. But Alan Keith, having won the championship in 2000, having secured it again in 2001, is underlining for us why he is the class act here. The gap between him and the opposition is coming down. Dave Colville there being given a really tough time now by Sandy Forrest. The two of them make their way out of the hairpin. Alan Keith, with no real pressure to worry about, has relaxed his pace accordingly. Sandy Forrest up into second place, all over the curves he goes there, and wipers on in third, number 5. And that you can see is the car now of Dave Colville, and Colville goes back through, retakes second place on the inside. Great stuff this. Alan Keith is going to come through though to win here at Knockhill. The Newcomers Cup is still being led as well by Derek Pearce. Alan Keith though makes the way now towards the checkered flag. Another victory for Alan Keith. That makes it 6 out of 7 in this year's Kumo Scottish XR2 Championship. The battles are still raging on behind him as well though, as they come now up towards the line. No doubt about the winner, that is Alan Keith. Dave Colville's going to hang on to second place. Third will go the way of Sandy Forrest. And coming now into the braking area, Colin McKinnon turns his way through at number 71. But there is the race winner, the master of XR2 racing at Knockhill, and that is Alan Keith. He's victorious from Dave Colville in second place. Third is Sandy Forrest. Graham Ross takes fourth ahead of Colin Robertson and Peter Cruikshank, with Derek Pearce in seventh. He wins the Newcomers Award ahead of Alex Knight, Andrew Martin, and then Stephen Gray. And Alan Keith secures the championship with Dave Colville second, just 5 points ahead of Sandy Forrest, from Robertson, Bell, and then Ian Cowie sixth. Behind them, the top 10 rounded out by Peter Cruikshank, seventh ahead of Casper Milius. But here is the man to beat in Ford Fiesta racing in Scotland. Alan Keith takes a 7th victory of 2001. Alan Keith the winner here at Knockhill.
Well, I knew with Dave Colville alongside him in the front of the grid, I had to go for it the first lap, because his car is seriously quick in a straight line. I knew to make the gap in the first couple of laps. And from lap 3 onwards, I could see the black cloud in the distance was getting closer and closer. so I kept the pressure on for probably the first 7 laps to try and build up a gap, so if it did rain I could afford to ease off a bit without taking too many chances.
Did you find it hard at all?
Yeah, it was race hard trying to keep, because later on in the race Dave was actually closing on me, so I had to keep going as hard as I possibly could.
You made it look very, very easy.
It wasn't as easy as it looks. I'll tell you that. And I just had to really go for it at the start, just to get a gap from Dave. I think he was having his own battle with Sandy. I think Forrest was giving Dave quite a hard time, especially in the first lap. That helped me quite a lot.
Well, I made a terrible start. Sandy got up alongside me and got past me into Duffus in the first lap. I managed to get back past him, and then I got a bit of breathing space. But Alan by that time had a good lead. He was probably 6 or 7 car lengths away straight away. Towards the end of the race I was closing up a little bit on him, but we hit back markers. Alan made a better job of the back markers than I did, and then I got caught by Sandy again. But I managed to get back past him again and held him off just to the line, so that was fine.
Where are you in the championship?
I think at the moment I'm joint third with Sandy, although this may push me up to possibly second, so I hope so.
1 race to go, is it?
There's 1 meeting to go. It's a double header. There's 2 races, so there's 50 points up for grabs still.
And could that put you in second place?
It should certainly manage to put me into second place, yeah.
And how do you feel the championship's been?
Well, Alan's had a really good season, but we've been challenging him. Through the season we're all getting a bit quicker, and I think next year could be a different story.
Very, very good race. A little bit strung out to begin with. I've made a good start, got up to second. Davey squeezed me out a little bit in the first lap, dropped a couple of places, made them back up. Just about got him on the last couple of laps there. Passed him going into the first corner, he repassed me going into McIntyre's, so good clean race, good fun.
And the championship?
Really, championship's over in terms of winning the thing. Alan Keith's walked it, but second place is really wide open. Myself and Davey were eeksy peeksy going into this race, both on 77 points. He's probably going to be maybe 5 points ahead of me now, but there's double header at the end of the year, so still all to play for.
And this was that battle for second place between Sandy Forrest and Dave Colville. Great racing at Knockhill, proving that old Fiestas never die, they just keep entertaining.